Intensity has typically been the percentage of 1RM, so the load being lifted, and we've challenged that a number of times and suggested that actually it's not, that's not representative of the effort being applied just because it's a heavier load, because it might be a fewer number of repetitions performed at a heavier load. So effort would best be described as the amount of physical or mental energy being given to a task. And in the construct of high intensity resistance exercise or high intensity training, would say that the idea of training to muscular failure is to the point where you are giving a maximal effort to lifting a load, but are unable to complete the task. So we published a paper, I think it was towards the end of last year. James Steele was lead author, which was clarifying some of the terms, and we talk a lot in that paper about muscular failure, self-determined repetition max, so that might be the completion of a repetition, but then the perception that you can't complete anymore without attempting to do so. Yeah, we've published a few papers around that, talking about, we've kind of got into this area of effort and discomfort as well. And as a construct, looked at whether there's difference in different exercises, whether there's difference in experienced or inexperienced trainees and so forth. And I know that a lot of people still contest, well, is there a need to go to true muscular failure and perform that last attempted repetition, or is it sufficient to get within 2 or 3 reps? And I know some of the guys over in Australia, Daniel Hackett and maybe Brad might sort of argue that. We published a paper with Jürgen a few years back that showed that in advanced trainees there seemed to be a greater adaptation by going to true muscular failure. I wouldn't discount that there's a threshold somewhere, but where that threshold is might be different between people, and to ensure that we've crossed that threshold to maximal effort, I think it's probably important to train to true muscular failure and reach true maximal effort.
And a maximal effort would be momentary muscular
failure. Yeah, the inability to lift a load despite a maximal attempt to do so.
Something else you mentioned a little bit earlier, which was that in terms of hypertrophic benefit, you were seeing a little bit more benefit to going to muscular failure. Is that?
Yeah, so I think that the study that we did with Jürgen a few years back, we saw greater adaptations in strength and in measures of body composition that included kind of segmental muscle mass or segmental body composition, which was in this case was a bit of an indicator for muscle mass. For trained people to reach true muscular failure, and it was even with rest pause training. I would argue that certainly with advanced trainees, the stimulus might need to be greater, maybe not consistently or maybe not prolonged in the use of advanced techniques, but certainly I think that reaching muscular failure is the marker, and is arguably crosses that threshold, whereas seeing an obvious reduction in velocity might not tick that box. Again, it's scope for future research, and we're really kind of crossing the T's and dotting the I's and this kind of thing, but it's interesting.